Okay, welcome everybody. Baruch Hashem, here we are at Living Chassidus. And as our usual Monday nights continue, we're within the midst of our life skill series. And at Living Chassidus, we don't just take care of the Chassidus, we also take care of the living. So we are working really hard to bring all of the skills that a woman would appreciate or would at some point say, I wish somebody would have told me. And yes, that. So here we are telling you, Baruch Hashem. Tonight we have the great zchus of having Chava Schechter, who is going to. Not only is she a great friend, but she's also an incredible part of the Crown Heights community, and we're so lucky to have her. She runs first of all, she's a mother and raises her beautiful family, which we love so much. But she also runs a gemach for women and a Sheitel gemach. She can tell you more about it. She'll also give you the website to donate if you'd like to donate by the end of this video or right now. That's also an option. But one of the topics as a Kala teacher that I hear a lot is I wish somebody would have told me more about Sheitels. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I go in there, it's a very, very pricey investment, but I have no idea. And if you don't have a mother or an older sister or a best friend or somebody who's going to really talk you through every step, it can be a very challenging stage for a lot of kalas and even for married women. When I was asking Chava to speak about this, I told her, I'm like, there's certain things. I've been married 14 years and there's certain things I still don't know. And I'm so lucky that Chava's here to tell us all about it. So there you go. Thank you, Chava. You want to flip it onto your, probably in this one. Yeah. Does that work?
Yeah.
Yay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chava Schechter. I've always been really into hair. In seminary, I remember cutting people. My friends used to trust me with their hair, and my haircut started out interesting, but then I'd go sometimes to the salon and watch cutting, and over time, Baruch Hashem, my skills improved, and then eventually I started doing Sheitels at some point, first washing and setting, and then I started selling and cutting and coloring at some point. As Michal said, Sheitels aren't a big investment. It's interesting because it's one of those things that's not really an investment. Investment is really something that supposed to keep its value or increase, but Sheitels are not really like that. It's just kind of one of those very expensive short-term use. You like
bracha investment.
So it's my first time, speaking about it in this kind of setting. So I'm definitely happy to take questions. Maybe I guess at the end, once I go through the stuff that I prepared. I did take a wake course about 12 years ago, but when I was pregnant with my first. There really is a lot of unknown, and like Michal was saying, so many people come to, they don't know anything about Sheitels, and then they're engaged and they go to the store, and then they're really putting a lot of trust in the person that they're coming to. So Baruch Hashem, over the years, I've gone with many friends to help them pick stuff out. And I can't say that I could go with everybody, but if that's something that somebody wants to do, reach out. And if I have the time and if it's possible, it would be my pleasure. I really enjoy doing that. So I'll start by talking about the different types of hair categories. And there's basically, processed, right, and unprocessed. So what is that? Unprocessed hair is hair that it's usually called European hair. Doesn't necessarily mean it's actually from Europe. A lot of it is actually from South America, especially wavy, darker, the ones in the darker family, wavy pieces. That's actually often from South America. And then, but it's just kind of all grouped as like virgin European. That's like, you know, the creme de la creme, like the top of the line. So usually, like, let's say the ones that are in the blonde, light brown blonde family, those often come from like Russia, Ukraine, those kind of places. And it's people that they usually, you know, these women that grow their hair, and then they usually get paid something, you know, for their hair, for selling it. The people who then sell their hair to wig makers are really, you know, they make much more than the people whose hair it was. But every wig is made up of more than one person's hair. So that's like the first thing. Like, you know, the hair is matched. They match different kind of hair that works together to make a wig. That's why wigs are much heavier in general than even if a person has thick hair, a lot of hair, a wig is going to have way more. People who have made wigs from their own hair, which like ask a Rav, but it is actually possible. They will tell you that in order to make a wig from their own hair, they had to grow their hair multiple times, sometimes 3, 4, 5 times. Even though their head of hair looked perfectly fine, didn't look like they were balding or anything. But in order to make a wig, you just, for it to not look balding and not look sparse, it needs to be much more. So, okay, so there's virgin hair, right? Unprocessed hair and processed hair. Processed hair has come so far. It used to be that there was really like a huge difference, and unprocessed wigs lasted much longer, and processed wigs were just much clearly, like if you would look at it, the quality was like really inferior. As I've observed over the years, I feel like I see that processed hair has come a far way. Not all is created equal, just like not all unprocessed hair is created equal. Just, you know, like if you see people walking down the street, right? People who just, they never dye their hair, it's just their natural hair. There are some people who have more beautiful hair than others. So, right? Like some people have more of a soft texture, some have more coarse, some gets more frizzy, some is more, you know, different types. So unprocessed wigs are going to be way more expensive than the processed ones. Anyone who tries selling you an unprocessed wig under 4,000 is not being, most likely not being honest, unless like they're super new and they're just starting to get into the game. Wigs are these days, like really the starting point is like at least 4, but usually it's more climbing into 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
For unprocessed.
For unprocessed.
So everybody has like a
yeah. Processed wigs, one thing I'll share is that I find is amazing is that there's actually like this newer, I don't know really where they're bringing their wigs from, but there's this thing called the Wig Outlet that's kind of like taking the place by a storm. They go to different communities, they bring tons and tons of wigs, and they're selling them for like about 1,000. Sometimes they even have like 2 for 1,500, and you could share with a friend. So at first I was super skeptical, but at this point I have probably like 30, 40 people that I know that have gotten wigs there, and they look lovely. So I feel like that's a fantastic option. They're not unprocessed, they are processed wigs. But for that price, it's really, they could look really great. Another thing I'll say is actually, when it comes to, that's a really good question.
What's the price range of processed wigs?
Okay, so now, you know, with the Wig Outlet, there's like in the 1,000, right? Which for a while there wasn't really anything in that budget, in that range. Like it used to be that was the processed range, like let's say, you know, 1,000, 1,500. But lately, over the last 5 years, I would say, the processed wigs have been more like in the 2 to 3-ish range. What was the other question?
What does processed mean?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. So what does processed mean? So unprocessed hair means it was cut from somebody who never had done anything to their hair. They had not done any keratin treatments. They had not dyed their hair. They had not permed their hair. So it's kind of like really like hair in its real, most natural raw state. Processed wigs are dyed, so you don't really know what color their hair was originally. They're dyed, and they're usually chemically processed as well. So let's say if you're seeing a wavy wig that's, let's say, $2,500. Those are not waves that were originally in the hair. That's not somebody who had wavy hair and then they cut it and made it into a wig. That was hair that was straight and then it got permed. So I'm not going to say there's a what?
The curl, like the waves would not stay as well as a natural.
It's a good question. Honestly, I feel like technically, yes, eventually it might not last, but by then the truth is the wig wouldn't last that long anyway. You know, that's like everyone's favorite question. Like, how long should a wig last? If anyone actually tries telling you a number, they're literally making it up. There are so many factors. Are you wearing the wig morning to night? Like, there are people that I know that they wake up in the morning, they put on their wig, it doesn't come off until they go to sleep, and sometimes they conk out on the couch after bedtime with the wig on there. That Sheitel is getting a tremendous amount of use. It's going to start balding sooner. Also, do you have one wig? Do you have multiple wigs? My take in general has been, if your budget allows it, it's really nice to have multiple wigs, because then each of those wigs will last longer than one wig. But some people love it. They just get one wig, they wear it to death, and then a year, whatever it is, depending how much they wear, let's say 2 years later, they just throw it out, get a new wig. It's like a matter of preference / budget / some people also don't like switching different styles. Like, that's too much for them. It's, so these things are a matter of preference. Where was I? It's just, yeah.
Somebody dyes their hair and keeps their hair is not as healthy as the texture is different of the hair.
It's also heavier.
Repeat it for anyone who didn't hear. The texture.
Yeah, so a processed wig, like I said, if it's wavy, that means it is permed waves. It is colored, which means the color is going to fade quicker.
But unprocessed wigs get processed after the cut also.
Like, let's say sometimes they get highlights.
Like the waves could be more accentuated. Yeah.
Are you talking about like with a curling iron? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you're buying unprocessed wigs, it's wavy, it wasn't permed. Those are natural waves. Is it sometimes styled with like a curling iron? Yes. That's not considered like processing the hair in a way that's really changing the. Exactly. Yeah.
I have a question. You can have a huge difference in process. You could have like a blonde person with a little highlights that wouldn't really damage her hair. You could have a Chinese person with black straight hair that you're processing into a blonde curly Shaitel. That would be a totally different level. Is that reflective of price, or you cannot know?
No, you just don't know. You don't know, and that's why, from my experience, when it comes to processed wigs, the best looking ones are the ones that are either like super dark, like almost black, like the very dark brown to black. In that color, you almost can, it depends, if it's a good processed wig, you might not even be able to really distinguish between the unprocessed and the processed, because it's possible that processed one was very processed very little. Like, it could have just been taken from somebody with dark hair and then they put certain chemicals to make it like more smooth. That's another thing. And then the other thing, ironically, blondes can actually look really good also in the process. What I've found,
Because they were originally blonde, or
not because they were originally blonde, but because with good coloring skills, you can get a really nice shade of blonde. What I've found to be not as available is processed wigs that look good, that look good in like that light brown, medium brown family. I find that those look really more processed. when they are like than the blonde and the darks. Not saying they don't exist, but it's much harder to find. Like even let's say this wig outlet sale, I've been a bunch of times at this point with different friends to, people have asked me to come with them to help them pick something out. Everyone who had like was either dark or light, like found something, but in that medium, like light brown medium, they don't even really, like every time I've gone, they haven't even really had anything.
How like your own wig or like?
Yeah, like I've been curious to see if I could find anything for myself, like nothing, like they just don't even have anything. I'm not saying there never is, just I haven't seen. And in general, over my years of seeing processed wigs, they just don't look as good in that medium, like light brown, medium brown family. You can't get that like natural, like
You turn red in that color. You look reddish.
either reddish or they make them too ashy and they look
Yeah.
like almost like a greenish
Yeah,
undertone.
green or-
Okay, so one thing, okay, so processed hair, something that's interesting is a lot of times it actually holds a curl better. Like if you put a heat to it, process actually usually will hold better. It's not as affected by weather. Like if my hair is my Sheitel is naturally wavy. If I go outside, like today I went for a walk in the rain, I was wearing my not processed wavy wig, not this one. A friend of mine was wearing a processed straight wig. By the time we were done with our walk, she didn't look that different. I looked very different. Like my wig needs some TLC. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's less affected by weather, by temperature, by humidity.
Does raw mean?
Raw means, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so like, especially the really low end processed ones, they are processed where the cuticle, like each hair strand has something called a cuticle around it, and they strip the cuticle and then they put silicone on it, which makes it feel like buttery soft at first. I'm saying like processed wigs, especially lower end processed ones. They will feel super soft at first, and then after a while people are like, what's going on? It feels like straw, like it feels very like coarse and dry. That's because originally it had like that chemical on it, and then over time it wears off. Yeah. Why do they strip it? It makes it easier for them to take tons and tons of different hair, not have to sort it and just kind of batch dye it, make it all the same, just like by volume, like to make an unprocessed wig is much more like individualized. They pick different hair, they make sure it has the same type of wave or the same, flow to it, the same colors. When in unprocessed, it's done like factory style, like huge batches. So they could take a whole bunch of people's, hair in different colors, strip the cuticle, dye it in batches, and then boom, they have like, that's just how they do it.
How do you make sure you're not getting such a wig that you buy it looks beautiful and someone it looks terrible?
Like I said, however they process it, it's come a really far way. Like nowadays I find, again, it's piece by piece. Like it's something like some of these things I can't give over in a lecture. It's like you have to look at it, you have to feel it, and there's no guarantees. And honestly, there's no guarantee.
Artificial.
Yeah.
To be true kind of thing.
Sometimes it has like a bit of like a fake shine. That's not. But it's something that's some of these things I can't really give over. I can't like explain to you. It's just something you have to feel and you have to know. Okay, so that was the hair. Okay, now we're gonna move on to fitting, right? So some people come in and they're like, okay, I like how it looks, but how do I know if it actually fits me? Okay, so for whatever reason, most wigs that are available are like medium. There's medium size, like we're all the same head size, which we're not, right? So the lace, the change to lace has made it in a certain way has made it a little easier in that if you've ever seen a lace wig being sold, it has like a bunch of lace sticking out in the front, right? So what that's able to do is, in the past, I don't know if it's going to really show well on here, but this is my wig that went through the rain with me today and it looks cuckoo, but that's the one I have to bring. Okay, so people have different dimensions, different ways, right? Some people have longer here to here, but smaller in this direction. Some people are really big in this direction and not as big in this direction. So with lace, one thing that's nice is that you have more flexibility when you're buying a wig in the front to back direction. Side to side, there's nothing, the way is the way it is, but front to back, whereas before, let's say a wig could have been too small, with the lace you have space because you can move it back and then just get the extra piece filled in. It's a little hard to explain, but okay.
Do you want to show us how the lace looks? Is that a lace?
This is a lace. I could pass it around. Just be gentle.
You have a lot of trust.
I mean, we're all adults here. Okay.
And what are the different options for the caps? You're talking about
So
the cap
technically, yeah. So, okay. The types of wigs that exist is skin top, which is kind of like almost like the dinosaur, turning into a dinosaur at this point. Basically about 5 years ago, lace. Yeah, yeah.
It's not growing scales. Right?
No, it's like becoming extinct. Like most Sheitels machers, they don't even sell skin top wigs anymore. Sometimes you can. What?
What's not lace?
Exactly. So technically, there is something called a skin top wig, which the top is not made of lace. It has more layers in the. Oh yeah, yeah. Somebody here has one. She could pass it around.
What's it made of?
I think that's just.
It has more layers.
That's just what used to be called.
What used to be a regular wig, yeah, used to be called a regular wig. Now it's this ancient artifact called a skin top wig. Okay, some people still prefer it. They're just harder to get your hands on nowadays.
Are they using other?
Yes.
Are they lower maintenance?
Yes.
They still stretch out.
Yes. Well, wigs stretch out over time, but skin tops are 100% sure. Skin tops are 100% lower maintenance.
I know.
And the truth is, I feel like some people, I feel like sometimes a skin top, certain people who don't necessarily know how to really take care of their wig, and they would look better with a skin top wig because there's not as much room for air, I guess, as with the lace top. Like the lace stretches out, so sometimes you see people where like their lace is just kind of like flopping around. It would look better if they weren't wearing a lace in the first place, right? Like it requires more upkeep. Lace gets stretched, sometimes it tears. These are just, skin tops are much more sturdy, but a lace top could look natural in a way that a skin top can't, they're more flat, the hairline.
My mother used to say that this is hotter.
Hotter?
Like,
Oh, yeah. Some people who, who used to complain of more discomfort and like heaviness with skin top wig, they feel like with the lace, they just able to wear it for longer. It's more comfortable, it's lighter. And that's because the construction of this has more hair in it on the top. The skin top has more hair in it. And also the way it's sewn in, there's like a few layers of different things going on in there. Whereas the skin top, the lace top, you have a very thin piece of lace with hair sewn in it that mimics a natural hairline, which is not as dense with hair as a skin top.
Are those the only two options? Or
There are other kinds that are much less common, which are like hand tied. So these types of wigs have been around actually for a really long time. And especially in the like drama and theater world, wigs have existed for a really long time. And what was the question? Sorry.
Any other style?
Okay, then there's also something, thank you. Yeah, there's also something called a lace front, which is basically a wig like this. And then the front piece, sometimes they come this way, or some people had skin tops from before and then they now got lace added. So a lace front would have either a small piece or it could be a deep lace, piece where it's lace and then it transitions into a skin top. I don't really think there's a mila to it in terms of durability.
Which, having lace in the front.
A lace front, like
Lace front.
just
that's
the
what
Were they
it's
just in the
called.
transition in the industry, like they were transitioning from
exactly.
lace tops to
Yeah,
lace tops?
exactly. Yeah. And truthfully, I've seen many people who took their skin top wigs and had a lace front added. And honestly, I have made out of the many that I saw, maybe like one or two looked good. The rest were like, it was so obvious, like lace skin. Like at that point, I feel like it just looks better to just wear a regular skin top. No one has like a hairline that's, two different things.
Is there any, I remember when they were coming up, people were talking about it being like sheer or not sheer, like, are you gonna talk about?
Do you want to talk about it?
Oh,
Well, I brought copies for everybody of the halachic stance that is current now, how to know how many layers. I'll put it in the view. How to know how many layers are needed, and how to know what's kosher mahadrin.
that's so nice. Thank you.
Yeah, for lace top. Yes, lace top wigs are further analysis. This is from Tenyad, Noshe Chabad, and mikvah.org.
And could you give us like a really short, like a one synopsis?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, so someone who's online that doesn't have the booklet, you can go to mikvah.org / I think hair, I'm pretty sure, or just look it up on their website. And this exact same thing is there. Hair covering, thank you, / hair covering. And there are basically two opinions amongst Chabad Rabbanim, so you need to ask your Rav. But it should have more layers than what the Shaitel comes with naturally. It should have at least one more layer according to one set of Rabbanim, and more layers, enough layers that it's completely opaque according to a different set of Rabbanim.
So if you're buying a lace top, you're gonna need to add
Layers.
Lining.
Lining. Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know why they don't come ready.
Yes. The question is, so you
some
have to ask
do,
for it.
some do come with a lining. Certain companies make them with a lining, but most or many don't.
It's another payment.
Yes. Yes.
And can you still get volume with a lace top? Like,
That's a great question. Yeah, so you have to work more for it. It's definitely going to start being more flat, which kind of that's what many people are after. But some people do like their volume, like me.
so then you'll still get a lace top and add volume? Or
So I mean, there's different ways to do it. You can have more hair added in to lift it up. Another thing that you can do is just the way you have it washed or styled. Like when you get it washed, there's different things you can do. Like, let's say to get this flip, what I did was I parted it slightly over to the right. I made a part, and then after it was dry, I took the hair a little further from the others, like hair that had dried this direction. I then flipped it over this direction, so it has a bit of a lift, and then I used a curling iron or like a blow brush to, blend it together. But that's like one way of doing it. Most people, if you look around, most people are not doing it. I guess they're not missing their volume, but personally, I'm
They don't know
a
how to
sucker
do
for
it.
volume, or they don't know how to do
I
it.
think like volume is not that popular.
Right. People are like really into their like pancake situation, which some people
They want no volume.
they want no volume. Yeah. Right. Right.
Brush your wig every day or multiple times a day or.
Not at all. Definitely not every day. It really depends. Some people's process, it depends, but it depends. The place that wigs usually get the most knotty is like by the nape, which is like by the neck, especially in the winter with scarves and coats. It could turn into a bird nest pretty quickly, and it is important to be more on top of it in those months when you have stuff rubbing against it all the time. And I forgot to bring a brush, but what the
Lesser material, like a cheaper material is gonna knot more, obviously. I don't know if that's all.
that can be that processed wigs can knot more. I wish I had a brush with me. I'm sorry, I forgot for my show and tell. But basically when you brush out a wig, you start out at the bottom wherever you are. Like, let's say here, this area right here is usually where the most of the knots are, right? So you don't want to take a brush and go like this, because if there's knots, it's gonna like start ripping out hair, a lot of it, and every strand is like $100, so you don't want to do that. Not actually $100, I'm just exaggerating. 50. Yeah. So you don't want to just go in with a brush and yank it. You want to start at the bottom, work out whatever knots are in the bottom. And once, let's say like this area, you feel like, oh, it's smooth. Okay, then you slowly make your way up. That's just the safest, right, good way of brushing your wig.
Is there a brush? Are there brushes that are better than other brushes?
Yes, and I'm really sorry. I totally forgot. I have tried so many brushes, and there's a brush that I'm absolutely obsessed with. I will, yes, stay tuned. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing, it's not a brand name. I get it from AliExpress, and and I've tried so many other brushes over the years. I've tried the wet brush, other brushes.
Don't have tips, like the crystal.
So the one that I like, it has plastic and like hair looking bristles. Each single piece, like each set has a little plastic piece with a bulb and like hair like type of.
The bulb at the end. How do you find they get stuck in
They're not all created equal.
Oh, okay, fine.
Like I bought another
the
one.
same brush people use in their regular hair doesn't usually work so well for their shape.
Right.
And why is that?
Yeah. So that's a good question.
Wait, for the brush, should it be something with that has very separate bristles? Instead of like all together, you know, like the wide bristles.
I
The
just
Chava's brush,
I don't know what that even looks like.
like instead of having like all they're very separated. There's a lot of like empty space.
I can only share the one that I happen to really like. I'll share it with you and you'll post it, whatever.
I'll share.
You can usually tell, meaning whatever brush you have or you want to try, you can see if it's getting really stuck and just not getting through, then try something else. Okay, so back to the fitting. Do not ever buy a wig that's too small. There's a difference between snug and too small. A new wig, like even people who have already been wearing a wig and then they're buying a new wig, they try on a new wig, even if it's the right size for them, it will feel snug because whatever wig they were wearing already got a little more stretched out than it was originally. It's okay for it to feel snug. What it shouldn't be is too small. What does that mean? Number one, easiest way of knowing if it's even remotely your size is where the earpieces fall, okay? They should be sitting somewhere on top of, like above your ear. It should not be sitting on your ear. If you pull down the wig properly and put it on and it's sitting on your ears, it's not the right size for you. It's too big. If it's way above where your ear is, like a good inch or more, it's too small. It is possible certain companies, because people have been really into like being able, wanting to, especially with lace, wanting to tuck the hair behind the ears. A lot of companies started offering, some even make without, but some Sheitel machers will be like, oh, I could take your earpieces out. And people are really into that. The problem is then literally they cut off a big piece of the wig. And now when the wind blows, a lot of your hair is showing. So I don't recommend that, or at least ask a Rav if you're considering doing that.
I was gonna say that is a halachic question. It's not a preference, it's a halachic question.
Yeah, please ask.
Any part of your front, temples, thank you, ear, sideburns, and the back of your neck is a halachic requirement to cover. And therefore, if you have a question about it or your sheitel is, whatever, then you should really ask a Rav.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like that. One thing that people have been really excited about with the lace wigs is that people who have an interesting, like let's say a low forehead or a widow's peak, yeah, they can. It used to be that, let's say you had a widow's peak, you had to have your Sheitel all the way sitting down over your widow's peak. Now the wig like can incorporate the widow's peak. One thing to just be aware of is that when you're getting your lace filled, like let's say someone has a big widow's peak, right? Lace has to always be cut in a straight line. Lace cannot be cut around the widow's peak. So what that means is, yes, you can have that really cool widow's peak, but that means you're going to have a big chunk of lace showing, just a lot of extra lace sitting on, very noticeable. One way to take care of that is to have the Sheitel macher add more like just kind of random hairs around in that space, so that it's not just a bunch of empty lace sitting there on your forehead. The other option is to remove it. I'm saying, if you're not like emotionally attached to your widow's peak, there are methods of removing it. And a lot of times if people have either a really pronounced widow's peak or just a low hairline, it can make a huge difference in the way, how natural and how good it looks, the wig, when you have more forehead to be had. The general, like, you know, like from like a beauty perspective, your face is kind of divided into like 3 sections, and each one is like, let's say around 4 fingers. So you have four fingers, 4 fingers, 4 fingers.
What did you say?
So if someone,
1.5.
so some people have, you know, like 2 fingers here or very little. So it really, it can, bigger is always better, because you can always pull the wig a drop more forward to create like a more, you know, even, but if you pay attention, you'll notice that, like, I could, just for the sake of, should I like pull my Sheitel forward and just show what a big difference it makes? It won't show my hair, but if I take my wig, like sometimes when I put it on and
Everyone watch carefully.
sometimes like I've humored my kids and I'm like, I put on my wig, but I don't pull it back. So I hold on a second. I will, I'll just pull. Like I'm the same person, but like it doesn't look good, right? But some people look like this. So let's say someone's forehead is like that. Imagine how much better they can look if they get their, you know, like that inch makes a huge difference. Do I look normal now? Masiras nefesh, guys. Do you all see what I'm talking about?
It depends on people's face, no?
If their face is,
I don't know.
if their face is tiny, and let's say they have 3 fingers here, 3 fingers here, then yes, this could be 3 fingers. But the average face tends to be, like, let's say like a person has a really, like, you know, much more petite face. I do happen to have a, whatever, a big long head, I don't know. But it just should be around proportional. If it's 3, it should just be 3, 3, 3. If this is 2 or 3, but then the rest is 4, 4, that's just it. If you really pay attention, you'll notice what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you should go and start analyzing everybody, but that's what
Lady on the street, you need to move your Sheitel back.
So some people, yeah. Anyway, there are if it's the whole hairline, then it's going to be like either laser, you know, doing laser or. So that's a great question. So bangs. So somebody asked if they still sell wigs with bangs, or how does that work if you have to get it custom made. So wigs actually come in a way that you could cut it however you want, and bangs is not something that it comes with. It's something you can cut. You don't need a different.
Having bangs if you have lace, like do lace and bangs work together. When lace first came out, Sheitel machers were telling everybody like, don't get bangs. It doesn't work well. But over time, they've changed their tune and they've said like,
Yes, and then actually the nice thing about it is that whereas with a skin top wig, bangs were kind of very heavy and you had to work really hard to get them to be a little lighter, get a lot of thinning, to not have like a thick chunky bang. With lace, because there's the density is lower, there's less hair there, it actually ends up looking more like a real person's bangs, like just has a more natural look to it because it's not all that thick.
So for someone with a low hairline, is it
Bangs
just
are a
the
great
tops,
option. Yes.
Because I mean, I know with skin top.
Yes.
Like their Sheitels would actually go a little higher than theirs, but
The bangs would cover it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love bangs. It just somehow, along with skin tops, they've gone extinct lately, but I think they'll make a comeback because bangs are so cute and they really look good on so many people.
And it's always less heavy, the way, like Sheitels, like.
Like Michal and I were talking about the other day, she was saying she needed to, can I share this?
I don't know what it is, but go
Oh,
for it.
just about how at the wedding, like she had to drive to a wedding out of
yes.
town, and she had a long drive ahead, and she thought, and she was like, I'm not going to wear this wig because this wig I have to like move away from my face. I'd rather wear my bangs one that like technically it's in my face, but like it's actually out of my face. Like I don't have to adjust it. Like I could just, you know. So anyway, I love bangs. I think they're going to make a comeback. Okay, so we went through fitting, coloring. Okay. So this is actually a great wig for this part. One thing that is really interesting about blonde wigs is that somebody who has blonde hair, if they put on a wig that's exactly the same color, it's not going to look right. And rooting, it used to be that people who had, you know, got their hair done, and then if they started having their roots growing in, it's like time to go back to the hairdresser. Now it's like a thing on purpose. People do this on purpose. They root their wigs, their hair. So with blondes, yes, rooting makes a huge difference. Processed wigs often come this way already. Like this is how this wig came. It has like a darker, this is a processed wig, yeah. It came, you know, darker here, and then has, it looks really, the color looks really nice. So sometimes people aren't sure if they should go with a darker wig. Let's say they're kind of in between, you know, in between colors. Should they go with a darker wig and then highlight it? Or should they go with a lighter wig and then root it? And that's a really personal choice. It really depends on so many things. It depends on how hard your blonde is, how hard it is to find your shade of blonde, and if you found the right shade, you know. By the way, with the one thing to keep in mind with processed wigs is they don't tend to dye well. They don't. You can go darker. Darker is always easy. Lighter, not so much. Like if you're planning to highlight your processed wig, usually the hairdresser they'll do like a test strand, but most of the time on a processed wig, it's gonna just start turning like a greenish, like it doesn't work well. So if something that's something really important to you, then that might be a consideration whether to buy a processed wig or not. Dyeing darker is always fine. It's always fine. It will work. It might not. Again, it depends. If a wig is processed, it might not take the color well, but usually darker ends up being fine.
So when you're talking about blondies not wearing the exact same colors, you're talking about doing dark roots.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else.
What would you want dark roots?
What
would people want dark roots?
It's just a really fascinating thing that if you put on a wig, whatever color you're like, let's say, right, like if you put on a wig that's exactly this color, it's not going to look optimal. Like it could look much better if it even had like a slight depth in the root. Yeah, like doesn't have to be, this is like a really stark root. It doesn't have to be this. Like a bit of a rooting with a wig means like getting this part dyed darker. So let's say even my wig, not processed hair, yes, has highlights. Some of it is from the sun over time. Some of it, like I got put in highlights. I like highlights. Over like about once a year, once I get it rooted, because everyone's hair, natural hair, like I don't know if you guys remember, but well, a lot of you don't have wigs. In the summer, right? Your hair gets lighter. So with the wig, it's the same thing. It's just that your hair is growing. So eventually you end up with like lighter tips, right? But the wig, it's like, it's not growing out. So that's why they tend to, you know, get really faded at the top, especially. So that's why,
More natural with a little bit.
yeah.
Like, can you get that maintained, you get the color put back in, to keep it looking good?
Good question. It really depends. Sometimes somebody asked if you can maintain your processed wig. And it's something like you can't know ahead of time. Sometimes yes, sometimes they dye well and they take color and you could rejuvenate it. Sometimes it'll dye well, but then a few weeks later, it just goes right back to that like older color.
Highlights are always lighter.
Highlights is lighter, low lights is darker. So a lot of times blondes will do low lights. They'll get like a root and then like low lights, which means they just to add that dimension, that's not all just flat one color. I wanted to so with skin top wigs, most people just always kind of did this and then the clip and then stayed put and that's it. Personally, even with skin tops, I always liked wearing a wig grip, which is basically a velvet piece. I'm going to show you in a second my favorite kind, but there's a few different types. I didn't have them all at home to bring. A lot of people just liked wearing it like this. Personally, these always hurt me and this makes you bald over time. So so I always wear a wig grip, but that was that. With lace, because the inside is very like much more slippery, a lot of people who didn't used to wear a wig grip find that they do need to wear one with a lace wig. One nice thing, I have it on this wig, but I'm not going to take it off right now, is I actually have the wig grip sewn in. That wig, the velvet piece is sewn in here, which is really nice because then I don't need to put on two separate things. It's already in the wig. I don't have.
Isn't the band
It is, but I'll show you in a second. Okay, so here's my favorite kind. It takes up the least space. I've had a few people that used to complain about getting headaches, especially once they had to start wearing a band. And I've pointed them to these and they're like, wow, this is a game changer. I get them for like $3 on AliExpress. They sell them here for like $20, $25. I'm happy to share the link. Okay.
Your hair I'm worried about my hair falling out.
Yeah, so this is great. No metal is touching your head and they're really soft and smooth and pretty thin.
Make sure you put it in the right direction.
Yes, really, really important that you put it the right way because one way will make the wig grip and the other way, if you wear it backwards, it will literally help your wig slide off your head.
Yep.
So you don't want to do that. So what I have in the Sheitel that I'm wearing, she took these plastic pieces off and the metal, and just this velvet part is sewn in basically like that. And it's really convenient. I just put the wig on. I don't need to put the wig grip and then the wig. Exactly. Okay, so that's the wig grip situation. Another thing is lace. People who wear makeup, the front of the lace will usually tends to absorb whatever makeup is sitting on your forehead. So even if you know how to wash your wig at home, washing it is actually not really going to get it out fully. So one really helpful thing is this ultralight cleansing oil. No, this is from like Target or Amazon. You basically put it on, like, let's say like a paper towel, and then you slowly, like, gently dab it along, and you'll see it's going to start getting like makeup on it. And then if this was like orangey or yellowy, it's going to be clean after.
And then you rinse it?
It's just like if you start noticing like, oh my gosh, it's really dirty, and like, or like you put it on and like you could like literally see it's like orangey or brown, yellow, whatever your color your makeup is, then it's time maybe to clean it a little bit.
You have to rinse it off?
Yeah.
Rinse what?
After you get it, like after you got it, you'll use water.
No,
It
no,
just takes
Oh,
it
it's
out.
sticky.
no, it says rinses clean without stripping, effortlessly, completely removes waterproof makeup, dirt and oil. I don't know. I don't think.
That's meant for like makeup stains on anything.
What?
What's this product originally?
Yeah, it's just makeup remover.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, another, what?
Actually, at the end, I'm gonna do a little.
Okay. Another thing that I like is, it's Moroccan oil, but I recently discovered that it comes in like a spray form instead of like where you have to pour it into your hand and then like go like this, and you don't really know if you got the right amount. It just kind of, this is much easier way to get it to cover a bigger area, not like concentrate where like you have all of a sudden like a big glob of it. Just really nice to just soften up your hair. If you know, just a nice thing I like to have. It's like super, I don't know, like $5. What? Does it work for processed? Yeah, it works for any. Yeah. Go easy. Like you don't need a lot. Like a little goes a very long way.
It makes the Sheitels soft.
Yeah, yeah. Especially in the winter, it tends to get dry. Just gives it a little bit of that shine and some softness. Okay. Oh, back to I wanted to share something about the different kind of wigs. There are one type of wig that I didn't mention that I'm going to mention now is called either a fall or a hat Sheitel. And this is basically a Sheitel. A regular fall is a Sheitel that it doesn't have like a front. So the way it's intended to wear is with like some kind of headband, or you could put a hat over it, but it originally was meant to be like worn with like some kind of headband in the front. That's one kind of wig. And then there's a hat fall, which basically the whole top, there's like nothing. And then there's just hair like here on the bottom. So like, let's say you want to wear your baseball cap or your beanie, I don't know, whatever it is. So yeah, right, there's a hustle wig. I don't want to hate on anybody. It's a company that makes hat wigs. So some people, they love it. They don't, then the whole winter when they're wearing their hat, they don't have to use a nice wig. However, so straight halacha, if somebody's wearing a hat fall and they're wearing a full hat over it and there's none of their hair showing, halachically, that is fine. However, the Rebbe actually really, we have sources from the Rebbe where the Rebbe spoke about this, and Baruch Hashem I was able to find, I'm so happy because it's like a story that goes around a lot, but it's like who's the source, who did it happen with. And in the dare hair, I'll share after with you the link to the archive, because they were like it's like a bunch of stuff on this, but I was able to I just printed like a few things that I want to share, and one is specifically about a story that people often hear about, and I'll just read this. Rabbi Mendel Nemes related, when my mother was pregnant with me in 57-18, she and my father came to see the Rebbe to ask for a bracha. At the time, it was a custom amongst some from women to wear a partial sheitel covered with a kerchief. At the time, the Rebbe had been encouraging married women to cover their hair with a sheitel. When the Rebbe saw my mother, he said to her, a half a sheitel is a half a bracha. A whole sheitel is a whole bracha. After giving them a bracha, the Rebbe asked to see my father privately. This part I love, and this is not the only time the Rebbe did this. After giving them a bracha, the Rebbe asked to see my father privately, and when my mother left the room, he opened a drawer and he took out some money. It was a pretty large sum for those days. The Rebbe then instructed my father to go to Manhattan, find out where the Broadway actors buy their wigs, and buy my mother the nicest sheitel he could find. In a letter, the Rebbe expressed similar sentiments to a partial sheitel and replied to someone who wrote about wearing a sheitel that will cover all their hair except 2 fingers in the front, like a regular fall.
So wig is not a partial sheitel this way. A partial sheitel this way.
It's a- In reply to someone who wrote about wearing a sheitel that will cover all the hair except for 2 fingers in the front, the Rebbe responded, I'm not sure who you're trying to fool. One cannot fool Hashem, one cannot even fool the entire world, and one can only fool oneself. What possible benefit can be derived from this?
Can I go on that for a second?
Sure.
if you're open to that.
Yeah, of course.
Pulling hair out.
Yeah.
Any thoughts or something?
Well, I mean, halachically, all your entire hair needs to be covered halachically. So pulling hair in the front, it's just showing people your hair. I mean, if you have more to say on the subject, but it's just
it's a halachic problem to pull hair out.
Yeah. And another thing, because you just asked a good question, you said, what's really the problem? Because like I said before, halachically, let's say wearing a hasel wig, if you're wearing with a hat that's really covering all your hair, like halachically, straight halacha, there's no problem. But for us as Lubavitchers who want to do what the Rebbe has instructed us to do, and the Rebbe knows way more than we do, obviously, and he's actually going to touch on this in another thing that I printed.
There's actually a book called Covered in Blessings, and stuff in English. That's amazing about all these things. It's one of my books. Yes, it was like 2 years ago, I think, but they sell it.
Okay. During a Yechidus around the year 5732, a Chassid asked the Rebbe several questions regarding the Rebbe's push to wear a Sheitel. The Chassid asked, is there any significance of wearing a hat on top of a Sheitel? The Rebbe responded, when a woman wears the hat on top of her Sheitel, other women will assume that she's not wearing a Sheitel. The proof is, why would she be wearing a double covering, a Sheitel and a hat? They will therefore think that the hair under the hat is not a Sheitel, and thus they will assume that such behavior is appropriate, and it's enough to wear a hat on top of her hair. It's important to note that in a place where it's customary to cover the Sheitel with a hat, the Rebbe wrote one should take into consideration if wearing the Sheitel uncovered would breach the standard. Meaning, like you're talking about, like Williamsburg Borough Park, where people live, and
There are some communities and there's like a source in somewhere in like Mara or whatever, it's not on minute, but to Dhaka have to cover it.
right, and that's why the Rebbe said if you're living in a place where that's the minhag, then that's different.
The double cover.
Right, they usually wear like either like a headband here or like a kerchief in the right.
Small, I don't know. And a hat, like a hat and a kerchief.
I feel like in general, we can't always. I don't know. I didn't meet the Rebbetzin, and I've seen pictures, but I don't know what she looked like every day, and I don't. But I feel like the Rebbe, we can't say about things we don't really know, and I don't. And the Rebbe clearly gave his opinion and instruction about these things. It's not my business if the Rebbetzin did it this way or a different way, and what, like all that, like I.
His family did have some customs that were different from the.
Totally, yeah, and right. Like it's not my business to go and I can learn about it. And it's like for interesting purposes, but in terms of what we should do, we're not left in the dark. The Rebbe gave us super clear instructions about pretty much everything. Yeah. So yeah, and then just one other like little thing that I thought was beautiful is the Rebbe said you should make an effort to encourage other women to wear Sheitel, explaining to them that by doing so, they open the channel for Hashem's blessings of good health, ample sustenance, and true nachas from their children. And there's a lot of places where the Rebbe spoke about all the brachas, but just wanted to share that one little piece. And I think that concludes my prepared part of.
Any more
This
maintenance tips or
Any more what?
maintenance tips or instructions? Maintenance.
Oh, we.
I was gonna say, do you
Oh,
want me to set that
right.
up?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a video. Give me 1 second. There's a video that Chava wants me to show. But before then, if you guys are up for it, can we take a quick selfie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stand up. No. I'm attached. I'm attached. Umbilical cord.
Oh yeah. 1, 2, 3, cheese. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Yay! Okay, you can actually have them on set up the frame.
How often do you wash it? And how?
So we're actually yeah, there's going to be a clip that is a really this clip is pretty old at this point, like probably close to 10 years, that I've sent it out to so many people, and a lot of people who, especially people who live in further out places where they don't have access to the macher, have really appreciated this clip. It's just really easy, straightforward way how to wash a wig. He does show it on a regular skin top wig, but I would just say if you're doing it, just be like extra careful with the lace, just because lace is so delicate. But if you're doing this process, you can definitely wash the wig this way, a lace wig as well.
Discussing before, like which parts need to be covered. Do most gemachers like want them to know? No.
It's not that they don't necessarily know, it's just that they have such a variety of people coming. You can't, I feel like, yeah, you kind of have to be your own advocate in that way. Like they might be like, yeah, like, do you want me to take off the earpieces? And you're gonna be like, no, thanks. No. Like it's
Right.
great. It's really easy. Like it's so convenient that you could put your, tuck your ear or whatever. Yeah.
I missed, what were the earpieces?
Well, she was asking me if you can kind of rely on the Sheitel machers to like know this stuff and about like what needs to be covered and all that and the linings or whatever it is. And
Also, if you ask them specifically, depending on, like, you have to know which one you're going to, but if you ask them specifically, if you know what to ask, then they can.
there are Sheitel machers on all different levels of observance, and their clientele has all different levels of observance. So they're
I have a question, how to make sure that it's sourced, that it's not from avodah zarah, there was like issues, like
so many years ago, there was a whole thing.
That was in seventh grade. All the teachers.
Yeah,
Through their Sheitels.
it was
Can
it's
you
a
repeat the question for everyone who missed it?
somebody asked, how do you know if it's sourced in avodah zarah? In general, the hair does not come from India.
China, South America, yeah.
China, South America, Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's okay.
Yeah, I happen to love South American hair.
Me too.
They have just,
But how do you
they have
tell?
gorgeous,
You don't know, like, just trust the Sheitel macher. Tells you where it's from.
I think that is something that the from wig companies are, yeah.
So you can't buy in the dessert. You don't.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I don't remember all the details, but
About Sheitels and avodah zarah.
yeah,
Or things in other communities or.
yeah,
So I can read the answer.
yeah, please.
The question is, I'm trying to start a business selling Sheitels. Does it require a texture because of Inji and avodah zarah if you're used? If yes, you're a reliable texture. And the answer, most women have long ago settled the matter and determined that it is a non-issue. There are some anti-Cheitel zealots who jumped on the bandwagon to make another out of this issue. They are not fighting down and now claim to have new information on the matter.
Yeah, like oh, one last show and tell thing that I absolutely love. You could buy these on Amazon or other places probably also. If somebody has a wavy Sheitel and they want to like bring the waves back, it's a spray bottle that has a continuous spray, like you click and it just keeps going, which I love. It's just super convenient, just like another fun thing.
For water.
Yeah, water.
It's so fun.
Water. You could do water with like a drop of like conditioner if you want, for like wavy curly hair.
You don't have to put setting spray, right? To make the back for the hair.
Setting like for after,
Yeah, no, like setting spray.
before,
Yes.
like heat
If you get it
control.
updo with some shades or whatever.
Oh, like hairspray.
It's not good.
You could do hairspray.
Doesn't make it dry.
You'll want to,
Wash it
what?
right off.
Can't blow dry.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can.
It's not too hot.
I mean, you should only do it if you know what you're doing. Like, yes, you have to constantly move the heat around. You don't want to like blow at one specific spot for a long time.
Yeah, why are Jewish companies so much more expensive than everybody else?
It's actually not like if you're shopping for like
In Manhattan, like whatever, going to like Broadway, like the rabbits.
I haven't gone to Broadway to know, but I don't think that their wigs are going to be any cheaper or cheap.
They're expensive.
No, not cheap, but less expensive.
No, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
You might be thinking of
No, like real.
Oh yeah, one thing.
Aesthetics.
Yeah, just like a quick like last thing about what kind of wigs there are in the hair. There are wigs called synthetic wigs. They are not human wigs. There are some that actually could look pretty good, but they usually look really bad really quickly. Synthetic wigs,
How about the half-halves one?
not worth your money.
I think back in the day, people were wearing those.
You know, there's also older ladies nowadays that they like it because it just has a style and then it just looks, whatever the thing is, it just stays. They don't have to do anything. It just, you know.
But it looks like a
What about a clip top? Some of the top row, it's like a clip and it's a top.
Yeah, so I mean, halakhically, that's not permitted at all. Like I'm saying, like straight halakha. Like I know there are communities where people hold it's fine, but I can't speak to how they do that, but it's not covering somebody's hair fully.
Oh, but no, their hair's short, but it is, they usually are. Yeah.
Yes, however, wigs in general just often don't really fully. That's just
So what is recommended to get it covered? Like, to cover this stuff?
I mean, some people, if they like, let's say they have their hairs long enough for a pony and it goes in and then just kind of takes it off enough that it, meaning it lifts the hair away and it's covered. Some people like shave there or laser there, wax.
Can a Sheitels cover it? Like just.
When it's down, yeah, but like as soon as you're in the wind or, yeah.
You could put them up. Yeah, like that. And then that's it. Let's go. Oh, okay. Oh, but could you get a bigger, like a bigger wig? No, that's gonna.
No. Pony, there are actually, that's another type of wig that exists. It's called a pony wig. It doesn't, yeah, there's one company that kind of like pioneered the pony situation and they're called Wonder Wig. And then they came out later with the Wonder Wig Edge. The original Wonder Wig was made like a fall where it didn't have like a proper front. You had to wear it with a headband, which Lubavitch women were not doing because then you are going to have hair. Like it's very hard to cover your hair properly if there's no like front to the wig. Then later she came out with a lace version. But again, it's a little tricky depending on your hairline. Like if you have, some people get really lucky with their hairlines. They have like no hair on their neck and their hair here is high up and then they could wear a pony wig like that and look great. But a lot of people, huh? Yeah, but that's not actually going to cover if you have like hair on.
I have a lucky hair.
Okay, what do you? How are you going to cover it? I mean,
when you're ready.
yeah.
Okay, you want to answer it or you should put the video?
How are you going to cover it? I mean, you'll have to wear the Shaitel wherever your last baby hair ends, like a drop in front of that, which you have a really beautiful big forehead, so you have a lot of space to work with. Lucky you.
Hi, how big and beautiful is my
We all have gorgeous foreheads.
Nathan's not. Is there a Shaitel? I remember someone having a Shaitel that like dried, flipped upside down, and then she wore it after like.
Yes.
So natural.
Yes. It's.
Meaning like not.
I do want the volume.
One or the other.
Are you?
So
I mean, it's just. I used to actually do that with my Shaitel.
Oh, you can do it with any?
Yeah.
Just like the dried upside down.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you for reminding me that I haven't done it in so long. I totally forgot about it. I used to do that like all the time. Yes, it's like vavoom. Yes, that's another way to get volume if you're into that.
can I pause? My phone's not letting me do both at the same time. It's
Okay,
either Zoom
I'm
or
gonna be
this one.
quiet.
So okay, I'm gonna do first on the Zoom. It's literally like, oh no, it's long.
No, you can't do it in one place. Yeah.
You can't share the screen on Zoom?
How long is the video?
I'm gonna share it.
I don't remember, like 7 minutes. You could put it could be a little faster. You could put it on 1.25, maybe 1.1. No, 2 is too fast.
Okay, so then what should I do? Should I just do
What
it?
if you share the link?
Just show it here. Can we turn this around?
What? No, what? No.
You want to keep it like that so people could see it.
I'm so confused.
Okay.
If people look, if everybody just looks at the phone, they'll see it.
You can see it there. I don't think you can.
What? The video's gonna be here, no? I was saying I could face this on that. No?
Let me-
I'll just share the link. Everyone can watch it from their own, in their comfort of their own house.
Let's.
Yes, it's on YouTube. It's available. It's not.
Oh, you're saying take this to show,
Put that.
facing the wall.
That was my idea. And you were
Yes,
like,
sir.
what are you doing?
I thought you meant something else.
This way? No, isn't it the other way to the camera?
Sorry, you're literally.
We're cutting the cord.
Okay, I can't see the other side. Okay, can you,
Yeah.
do you mind switching the?
And we don't have to watch it now. We just send the link and everyone can watch it at home. I just find it helpful.
There's no sound, right? It's just music.
Oh, there is.
Oh,
Well, no,
Don't
sorry, there's
make it
music.
wet. Use a brush.
Yeah, no, not important. So.
okay.
I'll send them.
Okay.
Read it out loud.
Don't use a comb.
Begin by checking clips and combs to make sure no hair is caught in them and brush back. Grasp the wig from the scalp against your hand, keeping it something that I couldn't read. Thank you. Fill a bowl or sink with warm water. You can read it up.
Stir in the shampoo. Dip the wig into the soapy water and let it sit for 2 minutes. Yes.
Oh, dipping it in and out for 2 minutes?
No, you can let it sit. Refrain from brushing it while there's shampoo. Gently squeeze out the excess water. Drain and refill with clean water for rinsing.
Don't do that.
Avoid folding, crunching, or putting the part under direct water pressure.
Oh, it was too good.
Add conditioner, mix well. Dip the wig into the mixture until completely wet. One thing he's doing, which you really shouldn't do, especially with lace, is you do not want to put the top of the wig into the conditioner. You want to put, you're going to put the wig most of the way, but not like the top.
Any
Does it loosen any cups? Any cup.
It loosens the knots conditioner, yeah. So you do not want to put the top. It's fine for a skin top, but do not do that for a lace top.
Don't rinse it again,
Rinse the wig with clean water.
The rinsing part to do the top.
Yes.
This is just the conditioner.
Yeah, you do not want any conditioner around the level like top. Loosens.
Even with the lace top, you know, the skin top was so not so.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you did it. Yeah, but very gentle. Brush hair away from the hairline, away from clips and comb and clips.
It's like a pressure from the hairline.
Yeah, he's doing a skin top wig, so
Don't hold it like that.
yeah. You just, whatever he's doing, you're gonna be more gentle if it's lace. And if you want away from your face, you can brush all the hair backwards. Away from your face. Never pin the so the same holds true for lace. You do not want to ever put a pin. You don't put any pins there because it makes holes. You don't want to make their lace already has little holes, but you don't want to stretch any of those holes with one of those metal pins.
Why is it not putting the side?
What?
Why is it not putting the side? Oh, on the air piece, okay. Why is it so young?
He
Because
clipped
they pinned it
the
on.
pin,
They
pinned the wig into the
by the
head.
ear.
Then you pick your part. If you don't want to stress about having to change the part, you can put the finger on the part when you're washing it, and the part will stay exactly where it was. Brush hair away from face or according to your liking. That's really the practice until you achieve desired look.
Easier said than done.
And then if it's
She switched the phone.
People usually gonna comb now.
the wig is ready to air dry, but if it's wavy, yeah, you want to scrunch it.
Do you add product?
I usually don't, but some people are into adding like curl cream or mousse. When it's really humid, sometimes I do, but that's a skin top, so you could skin tops. Remember we spoke about how they're just they're what? For height, brush all the way back, and then it's also more away from your face. Or you could dry it upside down, do like a lot of volume.
You've done the part already, and then you dry it upside down.
Wait, where do you,
Yeah.
how do you have it upside down?
It's gonna mess up the part.
Honestly, what I used to do is I would take the big foam head and I would put it like I would open 2 kitchen cabinets, put the foam head in, and then close the kitchen cabinets, and it held it in place. Just remember when you walk into the kitchen in the middle of the night, there's not like a person hanging upside down in your kitchen.
Wait, you want it maybe like that or fully upside down?
I liked it fully upside down, but if you have one of these tripods, you could do it like that. I liked it fully upside down because I like, for like that. Yeah.
So pretty. Look at that shine. Look at that jump. Look at those curls.
How many times,
I think we're ready to move on now.
when do you wash the, how many times a week? Like, it depends on the wear. I understand.
Yeah, it depends how often you wear it, depends how sweaty of a person you are, it depends, what things you were doing while wearing it. Yeah, if you were grilling, then you're gonna want to wash it.
Yes.
Yeah, grilling food. It's preferable to not wear it when you're, cooking, baking, sticking your head in the hot oven. Not if you're frying things, exactly, yeah.
You don't want to polish it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Who other lady girls?
Can I use a hair dryer for Sheitels?
Yes, you can. You want to keep moving the heat. You don't want to stay in one place and burn the hair, you just keep moving the dryer.
Can you answer it
Somebody
again?
asked if you can use the blow dryer. Yes, don't put it on the hottest heat. If you have if it's adjustable, put it on medium, and just keep moving back and forth.
It's like you would your.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, I heard of something called air dry wigs. Does that mean the other ways are not air dry?
Air dry wigs means usually that when it's just washed and air dried, it has a pretty look to it. It has maybe a bit of a wave, usually either a little wave, a lot of wave. It's usually straight wigs are not air dry wigs. They just, unless it's unprocessed hair and it can look nice, but usually just plain straight wigs don't look that lovely if you just wash it without styling it at all.
What about those wigs that the style is to be very sleek? How's that achieved?
How's that achieved? Often with a straightening iron.
Oh, right.
They usually blow dry it and then go over it with a straightening iron for that total pancake situation. No, it really does. It looks so nice on certain people and then really horrible on other people. You just have to know, have to have a good friend who will tell you where you fall. And yeah.
I use electric curling irons to fire.
Yes, yes. Just only do it if you like have like either like, you know, you have a thing, like you're good at it, or you feel like you could be good at it. So you watch some YouTube videos, or a friend could show you, like, you know, if you've never done it on your own hair, maybe don't start on your $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10,000 wig.
So again, about styling after washing, like, for someone who doesn't have the skill of styling, what kind of process, like, you wanna wash your, like, and you don't wanna pay for like a wash and set, you wanna wash it yourself, then what's the set? Like,
Yeah.
what's the easiest way to do a set, like, setting?
Using a blow dryer as a styling tool is pretty challenging if you really don't know what you're doing. The easiest thing you could learn how to do is using a curling iron. There's definitely a learning curve, but I feel like a lot of people could definitely learn that skill. Even
Helps people learn how to do that.
I actually, yeah, at this point in my life, I'm not doing that, but I used to, like, I helped many of my friends over the years. Like, they would come over, or I'd go to their house and just teach them how to like get comfortable, basics, you know, with a curling iron, just so they could kind of help themselves. Like, they got caught in the rain after they just spent $50 on the wash and set, and now, you know,
Also,
just
like, to kind of pay that
also
$50
like
every time.
just, huh? Show, could be, yeah. I've always done my own wigs, so I really don't even, I don't know what the numbers are these days, but yikes. Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's the biggest.
Also, like, a little goes a long way. Like, usually, even if you just learn how to just do like the front two pieces, like, just let's say today, like, I was heading out and just added like a curl here and a curl here, and it just like right away, like, you know, gives like a nicer look. Not everyone's into this look, but I'm just saying, if you can, doesn't necessarily mean you have to be like doing your entire head, just even like around the front, just knowing how to like style it around your front can make a big difference.
Different, what's the question you answered just before?
With Sheitels, like, do people,
Yeah, so it's a personal preference. Some people like, you know, they like being able to go from short to long, from bangs to curly to straight.
I have a friend, this is many, many years ago. It must have been about 16 years ago. And she moved out of a very small town. And she had a short blonde Shaitel and a long, more like gingy Shaitel. And she loved both. And she kept switching. And her neighbors were just like they were freaked out. At one point they just sent the kids and like, can you ask her what is up with her hair? I was really fun. It was two different women.
Like, yeah, which one is it?
What is up with this woman? Like, you know, like how fast you know, back and forth. And grow it, because one was short and one was long.
I'll pass this back.
For the blue dress.
not the curling iron?
Yeah, the curling iron, I did get it.
Guys, thank you for being my. Thank you. Thank you for being such a lovely audience. Thank you. What about it? That if you ever, like, if you know how to use one, then
Yeah.
you can use it.
Yeah, they took
You
off
have
the
to know